We're going to be making the second bag of the welcome back to my YouTube channel, guys. So if you be following me on my live stream, you would have known by now that we've talked about making the second bag for this particular design. The gusset or the side panel did not get to the edge. We're going to be talking about the measurements for the gusset. We're going to be talking about the measurements for this and how I got this bag handles, how to fit the bottom fit. It has 5 bottom fits. So I'm going to be teaching you guys how to get this particular zipper panel. Let me just unzip it. Okay, the inside has a zipper. It also comes with an extra compartment. Okay, inside the other compartment kind of foaming. So we're going to be talking about all of this. To start making of this bag, we are going to be needing suede. In Nigeria, it's popularly known as suede. Other name for it is velvet. We're going to be needing a velvet material for the lining. If you are going to be using blue velvet, make sure the thread you are going to be using for the lining is blue, so that it matches with the color of the velvet you are using for lining. Also going to be needing this print, Africanprint, also known as Ankara material, Ankara print in Nigeria. If you are getting a print for any of your bag, especially if it's going to be an Ankara print, make sure you get the original one that's 100% cotton. We also want to talk about the gum I'm using. So I have this gum now on my website. I have about 5 of them, different types. For this particular bag, I'm going to be using leather board. This is a synthetic leather. It's not a real leather. This is what I'll be using. I use this mostly for my bags. They are very, very flexible to work with. Boarding, I've cut out the parts of the bag. So we're going to be talking about the measurements for this bag. So I have 2 of them here for the main panel. Okay, do not forget we are still going to stabilize them with more leather board. This is the main panel of the bag and this panel. So we are going to talk about the measurements for this main panel. We measure 50 inches in width. This is the width of the bag. Okay, the one that comes horizontally is the width. Measure 15 inches. And in length, which is one that comes vertically, it measures 12.5 inches. Okay, 12.5 inches. This is what I mean by 12.5 inches. This measurement here is 12.5 inches. Here to here is 15 inches, and here to here, which is the vertical one, is 12.5 inches. This base here, which is the bottom of the bag, it has the same length with the main panel of the bag. So since this is 15 inches, the width of the bottom panel is going to be 15 inches and the length is going to be 5 inches. Let's confirm the measurement. So this is the stabilizer, or this is the bag interface, and I've cut it out. This measures 15 inches by 5 inches by 5 inches. Okay, and I've used it to cut out this part. This is the base of the bag, and take note, we are using leather board for the bag interface. This is how it is. This is a leather board, so this is not as thick as I wanted, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to be adding more layers of leather to it to make it stiff and sturdy. The next part is going to be the side of the bag. If you notice, the side or the gusset of the bag did not get to the top. This is the design of the bag. The side panel or the gusset is 11 inches for the length, and the width it at the top of it for the width is 6.5 inches. For this part too, it's 6.5 inches. It's also 6.5 inches. So what I did here, after I cut some notch, I removed some parts from this. The remaining width now is now 4 inches. In that my online class, I'm going to be doing different gussets. Okay, so if you want to know how to get different gusset measurement, make sure you register for that class. You can see that the gusset did not get to the top. The entire length is supposed to be 12 inches, so I removed 2.5 inches from the top because this is the style of the bag. This is the template I use to get the measurement, and the total length from here to here it's 11 inches. Total length is 11 inches, while the width is 6.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to explain how I got this measurement, including these parts of the template for the side panel. Length for this, the length is 11 inches, just like this one, which is 11 inches. Okay, it's 11 inches. So the width for the top width is 6.5 inches. 6.5 inches, just the same thing with it. So let's talk about how we got this now, how we got this part of the gusset or side panel. So to get this, by the time I cut out this part of the gusset, I want to make the remaining parts to be 4 inches. I want the side panel to fit to the base of the bag properly. Remember that the bottom or the base is 5 inches. If this is the main panel, we'll use half inch out of the 5 inches and use it to sew on the main panel. We use another half inch to sew on the other main panel. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to explain. So by the time you use half inch for the base and sew on the main panel, you use half inch to sew on the other main panel. The remaining width for the base is going to be 4, and because we want the base to fit to the side properly, so we're going to be ensuring that this remaining part is 4 inches so that they can fit on each other properly. This is the base of the bag, right? And this is the side panel. You can see that this is year to year, or if you measure year to year, it's 4 inches. After they cut out, the remaining measurement for the side panel is exactly 4 inches. It can fit to the bottoms of the bag. So I'm going to remove 1 inch and 1/4. Like after 1 inch, you take half of half, which is 6, 1 inch and 1/4. All right. So I'm going to remove it from the length. What we are trying to do, we are trying to ensure that after cutting out these parts, the remaining part is going to be 4 inches, so it can fit to the base of the bag. I remove 1 inch and 1/4. I also removed 1 inch and 1/4 here. So year to year is now 4 inches. So the cut out is going to start from year to year. We've already gotten this part to be 4 inches. For the length, instead of 11, I will want to make it 10 inches. So what I'm just going to do is just to remove 1 inches from each side of the template or the side panel. So you just remove 1 inch here. Okay, you also remove 1 inch here. So if you don't understand, please go back and repeat the video, or you can rewatch the video to make sure you understand. I think I've done my best to explain. I'll just try and connect the two lines. I'll connect these two lines and join them together like this. Okay, so in a form of rectangle. So I'll do the same thing here. Then I'll connect them to cut this part out. Okay, cut from here. Okay, and this to this is now 4 inches side panel that we just drafted, which is going to be this side of the bag. We talked about the main panel, we talked about the base of the bag, we talked about the side. So the next thing I'm going to be talking about is the handle of the bag. So let's try to figure out how to get a measurement for the handle of the bag. Handle of the bag, this is the template. I have cut it out. It's going to measure 2.5 inches, 2.5 in width. The total length here is 18 inches. If you want the length to be longer than the weight, instead of taking 18, you can take 19 inches. And if you want the width to be wider, instead of taking 2.5, you can take 3 inches, depending on what you want. I'm going to use this to cut 2 handle out, one for this and the other for this. But I've cut 2 of it out using this template to get this effect the way it is now. I'm going to be showing you guys the process. I'm still going to put one layer of leather because I want it to be stiff and sturdy. Okay, you just fold it like this. I'll leave about 3 inches. I will use my pen to mark it out on both edges, okay, so that it will be equal. 3 inches starts. I'll start sewing from there. Our handle is going to look like this. Okay, it's going to look like this. This is how to get this effect. Let's talk about the last part, which is a zipper panel. For this one that goes to the top, this part is for this, and it measures for the width, it measures 3 inches, and for the length, it measures 11 inches. Take note. And this one that has a zipper, this part measures 11 inches for the length, the same length with this, and for the width it measures 2.5 inches. So the width for this is 1.5 inches. Okay, 1.5 inches, and the length is 2.5 inches. I just wrapped it. When we get to that stage, I will tell you how to get it. It's going to be the stopper. It's the stopper of the bag, which is going to come on the zipper like this. Okay, so this is not the one for this bag. All right, so you can also use a metal stopper for your bag. You don't have to make your stopper with the Ankarabag. You can just get or buy a metal stopper to make your work quicker. We are going to be talking about the compartment. Once we are able to sew the lining to the bag, we'll talk about more about the compartment. This bag has 2 compartments. There's one that does not come with a zipper, and there's this other one that has a zip on it. Okay, I'm going to be talking about this when we get to that stage. So now what I'm going to be doing, I've cut out every part of the bag.